Good morning. It's time for Morning Oasis. Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. They've upgraded Facebook Live, so now on my iPad it like rotates. Isn't that awesome? So excited. So I hope you all had a good weekend. Let's see, I'm going to give it a minute while people are coming in. I'm going to get out my notes. I have something I wanted to show you guys that is just so cool. So while I was in Seattle, I got some really neat things and I brought them home. I was looking for something for the fair, right? Good morning. So one of the things I found, you guys are going to be blown away by this because I've never seen anything like this. And I'm one of those people that frequents plant shops all the time. But I was meeting a woman in Seattle who offered me graciously to stay in her home. And we were going to meet for dinner in the Fremont district in Seattle. And I've never been to that part of Seattle. I've actually only been to Seattle once, even though I've lived in the Pacific Northwest for like 20 some odd years. So anyway, we went and I got there at 4:44 and we weren't meeting till 6:30. So I was like, oh, well, I could take a nap in my car because it's pouring rain. But then I look across the street from where I park and there's this chocolate factory. So of course I went chocolating. Good morning, Laura. So I went and I got some most amazing yummy chocolates. I think it was called the Theo Chocolate Company. And then I went back to my car and I was sitting there so satisfied with all of my chocolates. And I look and I see this shop over there and it's called Indoor Sun. And it was a plant and garden shop, which is my other favorite kind of shop to go into. The only thing that could have made it better was like if there was like a crystal and gem and rock shop next door or something. But so I went in and they had two plants in there I've never seen before in my life. The Sinus Ninja plant, which is over in the windowsill, which is actually in the windowsill that light's coming in through, even though the sun is over there, like that way. And this is the other one. It's an air plant. Look at this thing. It's an air plant cluster. Is that not amazing? And look at these flowers, you guys. Are those not the most beautiful flowers? I didn't even know an air plant could do this. I love this thing. It's so awesome. And so I was like thinking how nice it would be to have a plant for our table. But like, what a pain in the ass it would be to have a plant with dirt and everything and having to maintain that. And that this for a table display, you just set it down. That's it. I loved it. So I just wanted to share it with you. Look at it, Shauna. Shauna, look at this plant. Is that not amazing? I'm going to try. There we go. There we go. Now you guys can really see the color. Look at that. It's an air plant. Is that not amazing? And here, good morning, Shauna. Here's this little tiny baby from it. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to have more. And it has all these other babies growing on it, but I thought I would, with that one, I'm going to try doing my whole own little clustery thing. So this is my new baby, my new air plant baby. I love it. Oh my gosh. It's just my favorite thing. I can even, like, if I want to, set it on my computer. Because, you know, on my computer, I've got a laptop set up with external monitors and everything. So, yeah, I've been asked by a lot of people, right? Isn't it amazing? Groot. You've been communing with Groot for sure. Oh, Shauna, you can have one of the babies and then it'll grow up. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to quit geeking out over plants, but it's funny. People actually talk about my house. My neighbor across the way one day, she saw me at a gathering that we do in the potlucks in the courtyard during the summer every month. And so one day she thought she was kind of giving me a slight. And she's like, what are you doing over there? Are you growing a jungle? Because I have a lot of plants. I love plants. They're all over. Anyway, next time I'll show you guys the Sinus Ninja plant. But how could you not get a plant named Sinus Ninja? And it's got these velvety soft ears like little lamb's ears, you know, the lamb's ear stuff, and these really cool orange flowers. So those were my two greatest finds from Seattle. The fair, it went well. It was interesting. It was definitely a learning experience for me. I set an intention during the fair that I would be, that the people who needed me, who needed to connect to me, would find me. There were a lot of people at that fair. There was a lot of vendors at that fair, a lot of intuitives, a lot of psychics, and a lot of products. Oh my goodness. There were magical products, there was magical wands, there was a booth that had all Egyptian stuff. They're very cool. If you're in the Lakewood area, Mystical Sanctuary, this place, I actually got one of their cards because it was super cool. Mystical Sanctuary. And all they brought was their Egyptian stuff. And I was like, oh my God, were you like prepping for me? And he asked me if I wanted to be a reader in their shop. And I'm like, well, I would if I lived anywhere near here. That would be awesome. But so yeah, it was very fun. I also met a really interesting woman who is a part of this academy that's been being developed for the last 30 years. And as we talked about, we compared kind of what the academy does, and they have 18 different levels that they teach, and it's all been created by one woman, and she's been doing this for like 30 years. And after kind of reviewing, well, the reason it takes to get to the 18th level, it takes them something like 10 years. It's a long process because she makes them learn all of the belief systems and history behind them. And so it was really interesting to talk to her. So when she asked about my classes, and I kind of laid them out, and this is what they look like. It's basically a 6-month to 1-year program. She was blown away. And she's like, you just channeled this stuff? And I was like, yeah, it basically taught me while I was making it. And now it's helping so many. So that was really powerful too. Great confirmation of the work I've been doing for the last year. Good morning, Andrea. I don't have any card pulls, so if anybody wants a card pull, we've got 3 slots open. And then we'll see what we end up talking about today. Let's see. So I ended up meeting some fascinating people, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to mark my prices down for a fair price. I was only going to do the 1 block reads, but I wasn't going to mark the prices down because I feel like I needed that confirmation myself. All right, Laura, I'll put you down for the first pull. And I also wanted to make sure I'm kind of in this space where I no longer, all right, perfect, Andrea. I'm no longer wanting to, there's a certain type of people that come along and they want that really cheap read, and they want it quick and fast and dirty. But they're not the kind of people who are ready to do deep transformational work, and that's what my readings end up turning into. Oh, perfect, Sue. There's my 3. Anyone else who requests, you'll be put to tomorrow's read. So yeah, I've come to the conclusion, my readings, even if I have an intention of doing something short and sweet, that's not what happens. It ends up turning into something much bigger, much deeper. I have to carry tissues with me. I have yet to do a reading where somebody doesn't need them. So it just became clear to me, the people who are going to, I set my intention that the people who are going to come to me for a reading are ready for that. And each and every one of them had said to me that when they made their intention for coming, and I love that they set intentions for coming to the fair, when they made their intention for attending the fair, they wanted to connect and find out the truth about a particular issue that they were struggling with. So it was like we called to each other. And so my morning part of the fair was super slow. It was really funny, actually. I watched 2 of my reads just wander around, circle and circle and circle around me, and I kept wondering, are they gonna stop? And then when they did, they were like, I had to make sure I was ready. I knew I would need to be ready. So I felt like, then that was perfect. That was my perfect intention. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do reads. Laura, let's see what cards want to talk to you today. By the way, guys, I took your suggestion. I got the Voyager deck. This is not wanting to talk to you, Laura, but I'm looking at them, so I wanted to tell you guys that. Let's see. The Shadowscapes Tarot are wanting to talk to you, Laura. Let's see what they have to say. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. The other thing I'll say while I'm shuffling and kind of prepping for you, Laura, I had dinner at Dave's Famous Barbecue. I'm going to stop saying there's no good barbecue in the Northwest because that was damn good. You've got Voyager on the telly. I love that show. You know, Voyager, I think, was one of the most spiritually focused of all the Star Trek, of the Star Trek series, I found. And when I actually sat and watched the entire series, I was blown away with how much there was there. It was really fascinating. You got the Voyager set also. That must be why I felt the need to mention it. Yeah, it was recommended by quite a few people on here, so I got it out. It's I'm still figuring it out. It's a totally different feel and vibration than what I'm used to, so we'll see how it goes. Has been spun out this week, hoping for some answers to the issues that we're facing. Yeah, I know, Sue. You guys have some really tough stuff coming in right now, and I've been holding you in my heart. I get it. All right, let's see, Laura. Oh, let's see. Okay, so this is a confirmation. Gosh, the lighting. Okay, so this is the Eight of Pentacles. So once again, Pentacles is always going to be about money, about housing, about the physicality of the world. So she's a spider who's got her web full. The quick and dirty of this card is that you're good at what you do. You're good at it. So it's time to embrace it and stop feeling like you need to doubt that. It's time to really embody that. Oh, Jessie. So yeah, recognize that you're good at what you do, and the doubts that you're feeling are just beliefs that you're ready to shuck off. So when you start to feel the doubts popping up, it's time to really come into the center and ask, who is it that feels this doubt? How old is she? What does she believe to be true, and what is she ready to see? What is she ready to have us witness about her, so we can release that need to continue perpetuating that feeling of not being good, not being who you need to be. That's what I'm getting for you. And Andrea, let's see. Oh, you know what else was interesting, you guys? So the Shadowscape deck, my Shadowscape deck, is the deck I normally take to fairs because it's quick, it's easy. Oh, perfect, Laura, perfect. Then that was the confirmation that you needed. Do the cards affect our lives? The cards are just a messenger. That's all they are. They're just a messenger. You affect your life, Guru, Gurudeep. You have to be your own guru, right? You have to decide how much weight you're going to give the message. You have to decide how much you're going to allow that message to impact you. That's how they impact your life. Some people have no impact whatsoever from card reads, and some have great impact. The truth is, it's where are you at, and what are you willing to receive? What are you willing to shift? What are you willing to change? Embrace. That's what causes the impact in your life, actually. All right, so Andrea. Oh my gosh, Andrea, I want to see the crow. You just baked it, didn't you? Didn't you just finish that up? I can't wait to see what that looks like in its completion. Really can't wait to see. That was so very cool. Thanks, Jessie. Yeah, some people are not drawn to cards at all. There are some people who use runes. There's people who read tea. There's people who read stones or bones. You know, what it's about is receiving the message. That's all it's really about. Some people don't need anything at all, and they just ground in, they connect, they get their message, and it comes right through. I have a friend who, it's like we're driving along and he sees messages and signs everywhere. So it's really about what are you willing to receive? How do you get communications? I get a lot from license plates. License plates talk to me to no end. When I was driving up, here's a perfect example. When I was driving up to Seattle, I don't know Seattle at all. So as I got closer, I was kind of like, ooh, I should probably start to MapQuest or Google Map where exactly which part of Seattle I'm going to. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Andrea. So that I have an idea of how I need to navigate. So I go on and I put in where we're meeting at, and within a mile it's instructing me to take an exit because there's a huge accident and the traffic is backed all the way up. And I was like, oh, well, that's good. So I take this exit and it ends up being exit 111. And I'm supposed to turn off onto Galaxy Way, right? And then I follow Galaxy Way for a while, and then it puts me back on I-5, and it's just basically routed me around this huge traffic jam, and I came back on right where that accident was, and they were already pulling off with the ambulances and everything. And so once again, I kind of just called in angels and asked for support for those people that had injuries and suffering, and just kind of just directed my energy towards that and doing whatever I felt called to do in that space and time, knowing that if they put me back on the highway where the accident was, that's part of what I'm doing, right? So that's reading the signs. That's just following the signs, following what you're supposed to be doing, and listening to what's out there. Well, Gurdeep, I can do it tomorrow because I only do 3 card pulls each morning so that we still have time for discussion and meditation. Okay, so Andrea, ooh, this is a good one for you. What wanted to talk to you, by the way, was the Messenger Oracle deck, right, by Raven Felon. Mail coming in. Okay, so respect your boundaries is what you got. It's time to really respect the boundaries that you're putting up. There are going to be people who are not going to understand them. There are going to be people who don't believe them. There are going to be people who push them. They're all doing so in order to see if you still believe this to be true. It's like, you know how when you tell a kid no, right? They still have to, they get it, but they're still going to test it. Is it still no? Is it still no? Are you sure it's no? Until it becomes totally clear, or until they go through another growth spurt, they have another awakening of awareness and understanding, and then they're like, okay, is it true now? Yeah, Gurdeep, you'll be first up for pulls on tomorrow. So this is really about following your instincts are right on about your boundaries. And people who are telling you that they're not are showing you the ways in which you still have beliefs around having boundaries for yourself that block you in any way. So make sure you're giving yourself this value, right? And one of the things I love about this particular dragon is it's rainbow colored. She's embracing all things, all aspects of herself. She's not blocking anything. She's not trying to embody only one thing. She's not a representation of one aspect. She's a totality. So boundaries have to be a totality kind of an experience for you as well, and recognize that's part of your growth and development. Sounds good, Gurdeep. It's got to be late there too. It's got to be. Are you guys 12 hours ahead? Let's see. The next one is for Sue. Sue, I know you've got a lot going on. The Shadowscapes want to talk with you also. Yeah, it was so funny. So at the fair, my Shadowscape deck never showed up. I still don't know where my fair deck is because this is my outdoor deck that I'm not worried about it getting a little bit of weather. And my fair deck, which is much cleaner and crisper and new, is missing. So it was very interesting, and I ended up I did my reads from cards that I do pulls here for, but usually I don't do them very often when I'm out in public, and it was pretty fascinating. The other thing I did with people, which they weren't expecting, is the full grounding and connecting and teaching them the compass so they could choose which of the 3 decks they were supposed to use. So right off the bat, they were getting a powerful tool and a meditation that they can now continue into their own lives. So it was really powerful. Okay, so Sue, I'm just going to check for a second on this card. This is actually more about your husband, not you. Okay, so we got the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands, so I'm going to try and make it so you can see it. So first of all, wands, right? Their passion, their fire, their creativity, their transmutation. This is time for him to learn that he can transmute his physical expression. This is his opportunity to learn that. He's had many in the past. This one is kind of like a breaking down the door kind of one. So it's a choice. The foxes below, they represent that inner knowledge, that deep inner knowledge. They flow through the forest. They don't know where everything is in the forest, but they know that they can flow through it. And they go on that flow, and they're effortless in that grace. I don't know if you've ever watched foxes in movement. They look like water moving. It's amazing. So he's guided by that inner knowing, and he's passionate. He's fiery. He's not one to sit and plan out, how's going to be the best way for me to do this thing? How am I going to accomplish this? That would be the Knight of Swords. He's like, ooh, there's something to be done. Let's do it. Let's get on it. Let's go. And so it's time for your husband to start embracing this part of himself, which he's been shutting down, which is a big part of why he's struggling with what he's struggling with. It's also in the sacral, right? That's where he's struggling most, is in that sacral chakra area. So this is definitely more of that. You can tell him to imagine a fire in his belly. If he wants to be here, if he wants his life to continue, if he wants to be able to become a master of his physical vessel, it's time to ignite that fire in his belly, okay? And that will help him if he can receive it. I know he has a little struggle with that. So that's where that is. Now, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, I did a post last week that kind of got shared by a few other people and kind of blew up a bit more than I thought it would. It was really a rant, and you probably read it, about empathic hygiene. And so a lot of people have been asking me about it and sending me questions about it and wanting to understand empathic hygiene better and what does that even mean. So I thought, let's talk about, and we've talked about this before, it's just quite a while back. Gosh, I think it was back in December when I talked about it last time. So what is an empath, right? You're welcome. My pleasure, Sue. Let's just talk about what even an empath is. So by definition, an empath is a person who can sense and feel the energies, the thoughts, the emotions off of other people. Now, personally, I believe we're all empathic. That's a trait of the human vessel. Just like we're all born with hearing, but some of us hear better than others, and some of us shut the hearing down for the lifetime. An example of that would be one of my very close dear friends / students / clients / mentor kind of people, who has everything I need and shows me everything that I need and receives from me gracefully and graciously, teaching me that as well. She is blind, and she's been going blind since childhood. She was born into a family where I think of her siblings, 5 of them are blind. I think there's 7 total. Yeah, it is appreciable in channeling for sure. So she is extremely gifted in so many ways. And one of the things that she's kind of always wanted to understand is, why am I blind in this life? Why is this so? And she's had psychics telling her, she's been on this path for a long time. She's much older than I am. I believe is she in her 70s yet? No, I think she's turning 70 this year. Yeah, she turned 70 this year. So she's been doing this work since the 80s. You know, she's been involved and expanding in her consciousness as, wow, 2 doves just flew by. Okay, doves are just white pigeons, but we don't have a lot of them here in Portland. Wow, that was crazy. And slow too, really slow past the window. Okay, so she, maybe I'll call her after this. She's been doing this work for a long time. She's talked with psychics, and what she's been told over and over is, you chose a life where you would be blind because you relied way too much on your vision, and you knew you wanted to really develop your third eye, not using your vision as a distraction in this life. And so she's had to do that, and she's really gifted at that. She can see things, that people cannot see. My husband also comes to mind. He's also blind. Yeah, at Shauna's house I heard, I thought it was an owl, but it was actually doves cooing right outside the window. And I really wanted it to be an owl. So my compass was telling me it was an owl because that's what I really, really wanted. I was actually filtering that information, and it did help me actually. And then as soon as I received what I needed to, then I'm like, okay, was it really a dove? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we can mislead ourselves, just keeping that in mind, throwing that out there, guys. So, with my husband, he's blind, and, he knows that was part of his journey. There was somebody who was on the bus once, and he was commenting on my beauty and telling him, she's really, really beautiful. And he was like, oh, yeah, you want to tell me about it? And so the guy's like describing all these things about me to my husband. And after he was done, my husband's like, well, thank you. And I want you to know that I also see the beauty that you can't see in her. I see a lot of it. And that's why she's my wife, And it was like, oh. So sometimes we create things for ourselves, these hardships, because they're what we need in order to open, learn, grow, proceed, develop in the path that we're supposed to be on. He was always distracted by visuals. He was distracted, and he would keep himself silent. He wouldn't connect with other people. And by becoming blind, he's much more interactive, much more quickly to interact with people. Let's see, Laura wrote, quick search. This is the first response. The sighting of a white dove is most commonly said to be purity, love, and peace. It also believed that spotting a white dove should be a reminder to reconnect with your spirituality or loved one. Well, I'm definitely going to call her now. Thank you, Laura. So an empath, let's go back to that. An empath is somebody who has the ability to sense, feel, pick up off of other people. And they are, and so we all have that ability, but to varying degrees. And that's because of our personal paths. Maybe we needed to be disconnected completely from that ability in order to value it more. Or maybe we overvalued it and we needed to learn how to not use that ability to sense things, but actually check in with people. So some people are going to have it more and some are going to have it less. It reminds me, like for me, I actually, when I look at things and I see color, it breaks down in my brain. And I see the components that make that color. It's like it breaks down into the primary, almost pixelated kind of colors. So I know what's in there, that there's more yellow, more red, more blue. And how does that impact? How are they blending together? Most people don't look at color that way, so we have these different skills and abilities because that's part of our development, and I'm an artist, so I need that. Let's see, Andrea says, one of my neighbors raises white doves. Oh, they're constantly flying over my yard. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what happens for empaths often, and Shauna and I talked about this a lot, when an empath is not awake and not aware of what's happening, they get inundated with information. And when I say an empath, I'm just going to say somebody who's predisposed genetically to being able to feel more, but they have yet to understand that that's what's happening. So oftentimes empaths suffer from depression, unexplainable depression, bipolar disorder, manic disorder. Sometimes they are often they have anxiety, social anxiety, agoraphobia, claustrophobia, fear of the groups. I'm not thinking of what that is. They tend to be plagued with those kind of fears, feeling overwhelmed in large settings, feeling overwhelmed by other people, right? So those are all traits of someone who's empathically attuned, but not yet aware of what to do with that. So what is important to remember is if you're struggling with any of those things, the first and foremost that you want to learn is this mine or is this not mine? Now, I believe that if you're feeling it and it's connecting with you and it's sticking to you, then in part it is yours. However, the degree of which it's yours will be varying depending upon the others around you. So let's say you walk into a room and there's somebody there who is extremely self-conscious, like self-conscious to the point where it's crippling. And you walk in and maybe you have some self-conscious traits that are, that you struggle with, but it's not like it cripples you. You just will tend to think about, I wonder what they think of this, or, you have the thought process, but it doesn't inhibit you. And you walk into the room and you suddenly can't get over this self-criticism, this self-awareness, this feeling that everybody is looking at you, and it becomes overwhelming. Then you want to step to the side, maybe go to the bathroom, ground your energy, connect yourself, and ask, is this mine? Or is this not mine? Using that compass sensation, using the body, using your guidance, using whatever it is that you use to know truth in your body, truth in your consciousness, truth in your energy. And if you get that it's not mine, then recognize this is a lesson for you. You're being shown an extremity, an extreme emotion, extreme response in order to invoke within you all aspects and beliefs of the self that hold that. If it wasn't in you in the first place, it wouldn't stick to you. It wouldn't bother you. There'd be nothing there'd be no ledge for it to stand upon within you. So, recognizing that, looking to the self first in order to use the opportunity to recover, right? Because we've got to we can't, if we're an empath especially, and an unawakened empath, or an empath in the process of learning this, it's critical to deal with the self before you ever try to go deal with another. Because what will happen is you'll be projecting onto the other person. Or you will be blaming the other person, right? So a lot of empaths that are unawakened tend to say, oh, people are dirty, or humans are bad, or I don't like to hang out with those kind of people, or whatever it is that's their excuse or their justification, or their, cutting it off. If you're doing that, you're missing your own learning experiences and your own opportunities. And every time you go to somewhere, you're going to feel that. And it'll get stronger and stronger because it's a lesson you're avoiding. And when we avoid a lesson, it keeps coming at us in an escalated way. It's kind of like a lot of you guys are parents. If you have a child when they're young and you give them a consequence, and let's say you put them on the naughty step. I did naughty steps with my son. So you put them on the naughty step. They have to sit there for however long. And they know exactly how long it takes of their problem, like them creating a problem with it before you're going to come readdress them, which is what they want, right? So let's say they know that you're going to come if they start screaming. So they'll start screaming and yelling. And so then you go and you're like, I told you have to sit quietly, blah, blah, blah. And then you walk away and then they'll start escalating and screaming, or they'll start right at the scream point because they know that's what gets you to come over. and it breaks their naughty time. So then you're like, okay, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go. And you're getting more and more stressed, pushing it until they escalate to a point where you're like, okay, now I'm going over there. The whole process, they're actually training you and you're training them. You're training them on what you need. You need it to escalate to this point in order for you to come over. And they go straight to that point and then continue up to see at what point now do you need it. And that's why you have to de-escalate by not being engaged. And with my son, when he would be on his naughty step, I would tell him, okay, you're here. Let's see, it was 30 seconds or 1 minute per year. So when he was like 2.5, it was 2.5 minutes, right? That's kind of how I went. So you're here for 2.5 minutes, and the time will start when you're sitting quietly. And I'm not going to fight with you about it. I'm not going to argue with you about it. I'm not going to do any of that. And once I got it, that he's training me as much as I'm training him, ooh, that disengagement got easier and easier. No, I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah, you're going to stay there until you sit quietly for your timer amount of time. Oh, look, you're quiet. Here, I'm starting the timer now. Good job. And that's it. So the same is true for us as individuals. If we continue to ignore the message will come at that level where we last got it, and then it'll escalate from there until we see this message, learn this lesson. So that's why people have things really break around them. There's a teacher that's out there, and he was talking to people. They were saying how he really loses his when he loses his cell phone, and he's completely addicted to his cell phone. So he loses it whenever he loses that. And he says, he goes all the way in. They're like, how can you be a spiritual teacher if that's how you respond and behave when you lose your cell phone? And his response was that I go all the way into the emotion because that's my opportunity. I want that opportunity of, this is my breaking. I'm going to take this lesson and I'm going to go all the way through it. And I'm going to feel all the feelings of upset, of disconnection, of loss, of heartbreak, of misery with this lesson, with my cell phone, because I don't want the lesson to have to escalate to losing my house, losing my loved ones, getting in a car accident, losing my mobility, whatever it may be. So when we recognize that the lessons are coming to us, when we see that, it's time to address them. The sooner we address them without self-judgment in the sense of, I am bad, I've invited something, or they are bad, they've given something, with recognizing this is your opportunity for the lesson. That's how you get out of having to have big breaks, big catastrophes. That's why Seuss has been struggling with his health right now, because he didn't want to see those lessons as they were coming in individuations. So he's escalated to where now it's, okay, well now the body's breaking. How rigid do you want to be? So with an empath, coming back again to empaths, if you're somebody who's empathic, you're going to be picking up these feelings and sensations from others, but that's your opportunities. That's not something that you're being subjected to. That's not like a punishment for being human. It's a wonderful gift that allows you to be able to learn and grow without having to personally experience the extreme negativity. So if you're an empath also, that is a gift, a tool that as you develop in your gifts, other gifts, right? Like Jesse mentioned, channeling. So if you're a channel, and he's recently been channeling some big energy that knocked him flat on his bum. If you're channeling energy, empathy is critical. That means that you're able to sense and feel the energetic connection of a consciousness that doesn't even need to be embodied. The higher you build that skill, that gift, that allowance of feeling, right, then the more you can receive. Now, Jesse was somebody who hated people. He'd shut himself off. He'd cut himself off from everybody he knew, in many respects, and was super strict about who he was willing to let in, how much he'd let them in. He completely controlled that until he started recognizing his own gifts and abilities. And now he's opening up more and more and finding his people and finding his groups. And as he did that, guess what else started coming in? Consciousnesses. the consciousness of Ra, the consciousness of Gaia, right? These things started to come in, and he's now channeling them because he's dealing with what comes up that he believes about himself as he feels them, instead of just pointing the finger. And maybe he's still doing a bit of that, I don't know, but we all have that lesson to learn. Now, he did it in a super accelerated way. So we all are on this path for a reason. We have things come to us for a reason. Empathic hygiene looks like, 1, recognizing you are impacted. It's time to pause, stop everything, move back. I like to use the bathroom excuse. Nobody ever asks me, why do you have to go to the bathroom? Right? Nobody wants to know what you're doing in there. They don't ask you why you were in there for so long. They don't ask you, any of those things. They're just like, oh, okay, go ahead and go. Good, I'm glad you're back. Ooh, whew, that was a long one. Right? They don't ask those things. So I have that excuse. I can easily say, I need to go to the restroom. I'll be back in a bit. No matter what's going on, no matter how heated the conversation is, no matter how much the debate is going on, no matter how scared I'm feeling, no matter how anxious I'm feeling, I can easily get that. That's a quick, easy escape route. Not only that, but if I'm in the bathroom for a while and my grounding and my connecting in there is not working, right? If it's not working and I need to go home, nobody's too surprised about that. If you were in the bathroom for a while that you're like, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to go home now, right? So it's a great lead-in. Another reason I love the bathroom is, 1, when we are in the bathroom, most people, when they're in the restroom, their intention in that space is, don't bug me, I'm in here, right? So the space is already kind of programmed to be like a little sanctuary, this cut-off space. And nobody wants to think about what you're doing in the bathroom, right? In general. I'm sure there's some people. But in general, people don't tune into the bathroom, tune into what's going on. So let's say you're in a crowd that's pretty emotionally intuitive and sensitive and all of that. Most people aren't going to be tuning into what you're doing in there, right? It's a very sacred, safe space. It's also got this toilet that has flowing water in it. So when I'm really struggling to ground, I flush the toilet. The water flows down, and I remember the flush, the flow, the sound of water, the flow of energy, that release, that allowance, and I allow the flow of the water going into the plumbing system, down into the earth, to help guide my energy down to ground if I'm struggling, which happens to even me. If I need an extra womb space, most bathrooms, at least here in the PNW, have fans. I turn on that fan. It creates this whole womb sensation. I feel really insulated and cut off from everything else that's going on around me. So I can release and find my base and find my center and find my grounded space. Then I can look at what was going on out there. Was that mine? Is it something in me that I'm ready to deal with? Oftentimes, the answer will start as no. And then I say, is that not mine? Yes. Oh, okay, so it's not mine. Okay, well, whose was it, right? And then I think about it, and up pops maybe one person, maybe a few people. Oh, so they were having problems with that. Now remember, we live in a mirroring system. There's a reason for this. We live in a polarized mirroring system of duality. And that's so that we can see the other outside of the self much more clearly than we can see the self. Every psychic I know will tell you they see others much more clearly than they see themselves. I'm guilty of it too. So don't judge yourself for it. Recognize that's part of the system. If I were able to just instantly know what my problems were, I wouldn't need any mirrors at all, and then I really truly would be cut off from people. So I'm like, okay, so whose is it? And then I start looking at them, right? I'm like, okay, well, what is it that's going on with them? Oh, well, they're anxious, they're this, they're that. I can easily, quickly start going, I know all the problems that they have. I see all of what's wrong with them. So I can see everything that's going on there really, really clearly. And then I start to have compassion for them. I'm like, oh man, that's rough. That's rough, man. I would not want to be that way. I wouldn't want to have to struggle with that. And as soon as I can get to that place where I'm seeing them with compassion, I start to transition away from the judgment of the other, and I start to see the self. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to, oh wait, you know what? I actually do feel that way a little bit, or in some situations, or this is starting to impact me, or oh my gosh, I struggle with that too. Then I can start connecting the self into it. I can start feeling the self also connecting in with that sensation. And by doing that, then I do the self work. Do all the self work, start looking at the beliefs that I hold, find the fractured states, find whatever system you use. For me personally, I look for the girls, those fractured girl states. So find those fractured states, persona states, bring them back into the whole, find a way to be loving and grateful for them. And then when I'm all through it and there's nothing left, there's nothing triggering, I tune back into the others, right? The people that I thought were creating a problem for me. I know, you guys. So I was going to say, it's not a big deal. It's just weird lighting. But then I got coughing. Okay, so anyway, once I'm in that whole state, I look back at the people themselves that I believe to be the problem, and I start seeing compassion for them again. And I bring more of that compassion in, bring more of that love in. And then I go back out into the situation and I engage how I feel guided, how I feel like I'm supposed to, in whatever way I'm supposed to. And that's how I handle it. That's what I view as empathic hygiene. And when if we walk away from a situation, and I struggle with this too. I told you guys all the story about the lady who was screaming at me in the parking lot, and I was pretty pissed off at her for many reasons, until I was able to connect with the part where she doesn't actually feel anything right now. She's a meth addict in recovery. She has no good emotional connection, no good emotional state. She can't sense or feel anything right now. She's destroyed the glands that provide the hormones that allow her to translate that energetic information. And so that I can connect into, because sometimes I get numb and dissociated, and sometimes I check out and I feel overwhelmed by what's around me. So I could feel compassion for her and connect with that part of myself. So we all struggle with this. This is not something that is easy, that you suddenly get it and then you're done. This is something that will continue to come up as you grow, as you develop, as you go through your life. It will continue to come up because you're on a path of growth and development. That's it. So I thought this last 10 minutes that we have, 13 minutes, let's just do a meditation on good empathic hygiene. And I'm going to walk you guys through this process. And I think that every one of you could probably easily think of somebody or something that you judge, that you reject, that you push outside of the self. I know exactly what I'm going to be working on. All right, so let's get comfortable. Holy crap. Yeah, they're definitely liking this show happening right now. And the other thing is I'm working on building a workshop around this so that we could really get this nipped in the butt. I think people need it. But here in our little morning Oasis corner, we'll do what we can with it. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you're sitting comfortably, coming into the whole self. Breathing in, just bringing in the self and the awareness and the space. And exhaling, releasing that which makes you feel separate from the space, anything that makes you feel lost. Breathing in, feeling the temperature, the smells. And exhaling, releasing. Breathing in this present moment, present awareness, and unhooking from everything that happened during your day up until now or yesterday. Breathing in, drawing in those lines of connection. And exhaling, releasing, unhooking from everything that you have to do after this. Breathing in, drawing in those lines of connection. And exhaling, go ahead and start releasing expectations of yourself to be perfect, to be right, to not be flawed, to not damage others with your wounds, right? All of those expectations that we hold. Let's also release the expectation that we should not be judgmental. Right? That's a way we shut this whole process down. And I want you to bring your focus into your heart space. Feeling that heart space opening and expanding. And as it opens and expands, feel how already you're completely in alignment with Gaia, with your physicality, with her physical expression. Feeling Gaia in your heart as she grows roots with you through your vessel, truly anchoring you into your vessel, into your individuation, into your expression. Feeling yourself growing those roots down and out of your body, connecting even more deeply in with all the rest of the physicality, knowing that we're going to be working on how you view the self through the mirror. Good. And as that heart continues to open, feel how already you're connected in with Source. You already are an expression of Source in the individuation. And allow that Source energy to start radiating out from the vessel, from the heart. As you send that energy up and out, shining your light on everyone else in the creation. Everything else. You guys are so good at this. I love doing this with you all. It's so beautiful. So we're going to call up that mirror to look at. And especially when we're feeling lost in the dark, we're going to call up that mirror. This is the reflection. And I want you to call into focus on the mirror somebody or something, a situation that you have rejected and judged and viewed as a problem in your life, a problem that's hurt you, that creates problems for you, struggle for you in any way, that you judge, that you feel righteous over, that you feel better than. Allow yourself to freely judge. Really let that judgment finger fly, is what I like to say. Release the part that feels bad for doing so. And judge them in this moment, in this time. Remembering to breathe. Calling in that deep Gaia Mother energy that allows us to see the truth of our children and love them even when we see the problems. Calling in that Father energy of Source and energy of Sun that allows us to guide even when what we want to do is scold, right? To lead even when what we want to do is abandon. Now I want you to see And look beyond that person that you see in the mirror, that situation. Is there a little girl or a little boy there with them? One of you? Can you see them? And if you can't see them, just ask yourself, how old is that child state? It's the first number that pops to mind. Give them their own mirror, a second mirror, and allow them to be seen fully in this other mirror. I'm doing my own work here too, guys. What does this child self of ours, this fractured state, how old are they? What do they believe to be true? What have they been rejected for? What have they been judged for? What makes them unworthy of love, unworthy of acceptance, unvaluable to you? Because this is a part that you have rejected and pushed away. What are the situations in your life that they have had to handle, that they have had to deal with for you, but you've left them to, fed them to like the wolves? Continue looking at these children. Maybe there's more than one, until you see them for how beautiful they are, how powerful, how strong, how resilient, until you look at them with awe and wonder that they have survived, that they keep finding their way back to you no matter how much you reject them. Continue looking at them until you see them with gratitude, because you're so grateful that they found their way, that they're knocking again at your door. And open up that door and let them in. They may not trust you at first. They may not think you're really going to let them in. So you need to tell them how much you want them to be a part of you. That you never will reject them again. You'll never expect them to live outside of you. You'll never force them away from you. You will always allow them in. Because they are the most amazing part of you. And you're so grateful. These parts need to be shown how much you love them. They need to be shown that they're worthy of love. But we need to know what they need in order to feel that. So ask them, what do you need in order to feel this love and acceptance? What do you need from me right now in order to feel this wholeness, in order to come in? And allow that for them. Give that to them. Is it a hug? Is it something tangible? Is it a blanket? Is it a treat? Is it a gift? Is it your acceptance? Give them all that they need in that time in that space to feel loved and in the inside. Now they're going to be starting to show you why they don't trust you, why they don't trust what you're doing, how they feel they get rejected, situations where they're afraid they're going to be thrown back out for. They're going to show you the ways in which they've been protecting you, what they've been doing for you that you're not aware of. So tell them, I want you to continue seeing through your window of perspective. I know you see things I don't, and I'm so grateful for that. I also want you to be able to tell me and to share with me when things are coming that I can't see. So, give them a signal. Ask them to show you how they're going to give you a cue that you need to pull over. Excuse me. That you need to stop and pause and go to the bathroom and ground and connect and listen to them. So what is their signal to you? That it's time to pause, remove yourself from the situation, and go listen. Is it a sensation, a thought? Is it a physical sign, a sound, a buzzing in the ear, an ache somewhere in the body? Whatever it is, take note of it now. For me, it's the throat. And make the commitment to them that moving forward, you will always, when you get this signal, whatever it is, pull over. You're going to go to the bathroom. You're going to go to your room, wherever it is for you. And you're going to ground yourself. You're going to connect in with Source and your highest of selves. And you're going to listen. And you're going to address these beliefs that you've been using to punish yourself, to cut yourself off, to box yourself in. You're going to listen and receive from this part of yourself that you've rejected. Once that child state feels like they kind of believe you, they're going to start testing it. So you're going to find situations coming up that test it, like the boundaries we talked about earlier. Let them know, I recognize tests are coming. In order for me to strengthen where I need to, work where I'm ready to, release what I'm no longer need, and show gratitude for that. Not fear, not pain, right? Not suffering. Gratitude that you're being given the opportunity to repair this fracture that you've created. And now I want you to call back up the two mirrors, right? This one with the kid should be vacant now. If it's not, there's more work to be done. Go back and start over. There's more there that you don't recognize. There could also be another child there. I want you to call up right now, though, the mirror with the original person or situation that you were judging. Call that back into focus. Do you feel anything other than compassion and gratitude for that person, for being there to help you find the self? If you do, if you feel anger, frustration, irritation, there's still judgment, there's another child hiding back behind them. Again, continue the process until all you can see for this person and feel is compassion and gratitude and allowance. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Continue this process until you feel release and peace and joy in being in this space with them and sharing the space with yourself. Once you get there, just flow that energy through the vessel. It's a beautiful place to be. I'm so grateful for you all. I'm so proud of you that you've done this work. This is the hardest work you'll do. I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow.